Hi and welcome to another Seeing Double video. I'm Garden Girl Jen Gallacher and today we're going to play with a fun two-piece exclusive product. Now I don't know if you have noticed, but that every month we release both digital cut files and digital print files, and they are exclusive to the two-piece store, and we create them to coordinate with the month's theme. And this particular month's theme has to do with All About Me, and so I took the 2x2 Words 2 kit, and it is a printable kit, and I printed it on some Nina Solar White solid pattern paper, or rather cardstock, and it is a smooth cardstock, and it created these three. I selected these three from the kit. There are more to choose from, but I selected these three squares, and we're going to use those squares today to both decorate our page and add as embellishments. Now you could use them as they are, but some things that you can do to alter them is you can add stamps to them, you can add sequins to them, you can mist them, you can even print them out on watercolor paper. I would love to see what Vilna Furstenberg does with that. But you could print them out on watercolor paper, and then you could use gelatos to mix it up and paint them. So we're going to use these three different cards today, and we're going to do something fun with them. Here's a basic look at some of the supplies we'll be using in today's class. So let's go ahead and get started. So I'm going to start the layout with a sheet of corrugated cardstock. It's from Fancy Pants, and this is a fun way to add a little bit of dimension to your layout. Then I'm going to add some pattern paper from the Happy Camper collection, and this is from Jelly Bean Soup. We're going to add this on here. And then I'm going to add my photos to the layout, and one fun thing that you can do is you can use colored photos along with black and white photos. And to do that, you can do one of two things. If you print at home, simply change a photo to black and white. Sometimes I'll choose one that's a little more dramatic, such as a portrait photo. Or you can ask your photo processing place to print one of the photos in black and white. So something that I'll sometimes do if I'm doing photo processing is I will have all of them printed in color and then pick a few of my favorite and then do a few sepia and black and white. And then when I'm ready to do my layout, I have some options to choose from. At the top of the layout, I have a little tag from Chic Tags, and I wanted to treat it like a real tag. So to do that, I'm going to use a paper piercer, and I'm going to poke a hole through the top of it, and then I'm just going to take some twine, and I'm going to add it to the hole. And this makes it look like a more authentic tag. So you can do this with a ribbon, you could do this with baker's twine, you could do it with any kind of trim, but it just makes it look a little bit more like a real element. So we will place this behind pattern paper up here. We'll let that everyday show. And it's going to stick off the top of my layout, but that's okay. That can stick a little bit outside of my layout, or my album rather, and that will be just fine. I'm going to take some fall pattern paper, and it will work because I'm going to use the more neutral side. And we will layer this on top of that teal pattern paper. This fall pattern paper is from a little, or rather Echo Park paper collection called Reflections Fall. On top of that, I'm going to take a mini album piece from Basic Gray, and it says favorites on one side and then has notes on the other. And I'm going to create a cluster of embellishments on top of this album piece. We'll overlap photo just a bit. And then this particular section, this part that says favorites, doesn't match the rest of my layout, so I'm going to cover it. I'm going to cover it with some Amy Tan pattern paper in a bright, happy pink color, which just makes me think of girls. And we'll slightly overlap that. And it's okay that this little stamp is showing on the other side. This is what it looks like. Now I have had these feathers from a long time ago, and I wanted to use them. I saw them showing up a while ago, and I'm simply going to just add a glue dot where I want to place the feather. And I want to make sure it doesn't cover too much of my photo, and then I'll take some more adhesive, kind of stick it on top. And then make sure all of it is down. I love clear embellishments, and since we are using the printables that also have a dark element to it, I'm going to use this Heidi Swapp Loved tab, and I'm going to add adhesive where it won't show. So just a little bit, because I'm going to tuck this behind this pink element and on top of my feather. So just want to make sure you have it tucked enough so you can see so the adhesive does not show. Between the two photos, I'm going to take some more of that Amy Tangerine sticker sheet, and I'm going to add this chipboard sticker that says write this down. I'm going to add a little bit more glue dots to it so it just sticks a little bit better, and we'll just put it between the two. Then what we'll do to the tag at the top is I'm going to add a number 9 to it, and that doesn't have to be a significant number. It can be. I just like the look of a 9. You could do 9 things that you love about your child. There's a couple of different things you can do. So for the first little journaling card that I printed from the exclusive 2-piece printable, it says do what you love and do it often. And the only thing I'm going to do to decorate this particular card is I'm going to add some pink washi tape to the top because it's already ready to go. Now, if you're familiar with Photoshop, you can recolor these items in your Photoshop program. So that might be something fun that you want to try. So that's one way that you can alter it. I'm also going to add some of this Doodlebug Design gray washi tape on top. So they have some of the gray and some of the pink. To the second one, I want to do some stamping, and I'm going to do that with this fun heart stamp. This is also from Amy Tangerine, and I'm going to stamp it into the card, and I'm going to use some gray stamping ink. And you could use whatever color ink you want. You can also stamp first. You could stamp first on the pattern paper or cardstock that you desire to use, and then you can print on top because the image is actually clear. But because it's a nice gray and it's not completely opaque, you can still see the writing, and that makes it kind of fun. You could ink the edges. You could even print it out because, again, this square appears clear in my Photoshop program. You could print it out on colored pattern paper and it would have a completely different look. So these are super, super versatile things that you can do. So this Live Life with Purpose, I'm going to wrap with some twine, but I'm going to do something a little fun. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take some pink sequins, and these are from Teresa Collins, and I'm going to thread them onto the twine. And you'll need to make sure that this is done on some somewhat thin twine, because if it's too thick, it won't go through the hole. Or you could poke a slightly larger hole through the sequin. So that's one way to do it. So we'll go ahead and second row, we'll again thread it through the sequin. If it makes it easier, if this is a little bit difficult, you could thread the twine onto a needle, a sewing needle, and then do this step. So what I'm trying to do is just simply add a few sequins. So I put one on, I wrapped it around, I put a second one on, I wrapped it around, and I'm going to add a third one. You can add as many as you want. You can add as many to each row as you want. It's just however you want it to look. You could do different color sequins or something fun. And then I'm going to tie this into a bow. And you could make this messy, or you could make each line in the twine equidistant apart from one another. So many different ways to use this particular technique. But these 2x2 printables are very versatile and fun to use, and you can use them more than once, as you'll see them on the bonus project, to create an entirely new look each time. And then we will add this right below the stamped one. And you can just see, just by doing a little thing to each one, I have kind of altered the look of the project. So then another clear item, this one is from Heidi Swapp, and I'm going to cut off part of it. I love clear embellishments on a layout because it allows you to add additional layers and it doesn't detract from the rest of the layout. So we'll just add this here at the bottom. For our journaling, I'm going to add a little bit of journaling to this card here, and I'm going to print it on my computer, and I will come back and show you what that looks like. So what I did is I took the card, and rather than print this way, I printed this way, and I'll show you why. I'm going to tuck it underneath the pink pattern paper and that die cut album piece, and we're going to overlap it. And then rather than keep this bottom section as it is, I am actually going to create a pennant shape, and I'm going to do this after the fact. And my adhesive is permanent, but because it hasn't sat there for a while, I can do this step later. But I think it looks just a little bit more interesting than just a single block. And I do that by just cutting out a triangle shape at the bottom, so you can see how it looks. And then to the top of this Rolodex card, which is from Farmhouse, I'm going to add another of Amy Tan's stickers. It says pretty darn cool, and my daughter is pretty darn cool. And we'll add that at the top, and we'll tuck it just behind the pink pattern paper. And then this is a sticker from a Pebbles collection, and I'll be sure to link you to that as well. And we'll add a little bit of green to there as well. Then to this bottom corner, to bring in some of that pink again, I have some pink buttons that I have tied with twine. And I'm going to add the biggest one at the bottom, and then I'm going to add a medium one. And then I'm going to add a small one. And that helps bring some of that pink from this side of the layout over onto this side. And we'll just trim off the edge. So there you can see on this layout how I've used these fun printables that are exclusive to 2Ps. But I want to show you there are other ways to use them. So we're going to create a card today that uses printables from 2Ps. So let's go ahead and make a card. So I have all the components here to make a card using the same supplies that we already did. I have a white card base, and I've pre-cut everything to use on this layout. Again, we're going to use some of this pink pattern paper from Amy Tan. We'll attach it to the front of the card. And then I have a strip left over from the Happy Camper collection, and I'm going to create that into a double-sided pennant. We'll just cut off the edges. And we'll adhere that to the front of the card. You can see on the back it's got camping leaves, and I'm not worried about that because I'm not going to use that part. And then again, another Rolodex card from the Farmhouse Rolodex packaging. This one's a little bit more yellowed. The other one was a little bit more white. And then across the entire card, I'm going to take some of this white twine that I've been using. Make sure that you open your card, and I'm going to wrap this around several times. Now you could do this step before you put the pink pattern paper down on the card if you don't want the twine on the center, or you can put a piece of cardstock here, a solid piece of cardstock to cover that. So just think about how you want it to look. This adds just a little bit of texture. Tighten it up a little bit. Now I want to show you the difference of when you print onto photo paper. So here are two of the cards that I use on the layout. Let me show you the layout again. So you can see that this particular one is a little bit darker than the one on the matte pattern, rather matte cardstock. Another thing that you can do is, here is what it originally looked like. But in my Photoshop program, I used the magic wand tool, and I selected both the outside of the letters and the inside of the letters. And then I used the paint bucket tool to use and drop in a paint color that was similar to this pattern paper here. So you can see that I tried to match the blue, the teal blue that you find here. So you can use the Photoshop elements or Photoshop, or you might have similar capabilities on whatever photo editing program you're using, but you can change the colors of these printables, and that makes them even more fun. Again, I'm going to add just the leftover. I just had two of these triangular pennants from that Heidi Swap banner that I used before, and I'm going to put adhesive behind it, and you can kind of see the adhesive. So I will just use some of the glue dots and a button to kind of cover that up. And then we'll add some sequins to the card as well. You can see that using these printables, you can easily just add them to a card, and you can color them and you can use them a million different ways. Again, let's add some of this pink tape, and then we'll add some of the gray tape. So while your supplies are out, after you've made a layout, take a moment and just make a cute card for someone that you care about. Overlap it with some gray tape. So there you have a card that uses the same supplies and the two-piece exclusive printables. Be sure to subscribe to the two-piece channel so you don't miss out on any of these fun seeing double videos. Thank you for joining me today.